Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Erin and Merry Christmas Eve, or if you don't celebrate Christmas, Happy Holidays. It is Book Review Friday, except, did you notice, it's not Friday. Today is Book Review Thursday. I did not want to film and edit on Christmas, so you guys are getting a video for Christmas Eve, my little present to you. I hope you guys are excited. I am excited to talk about this book. Today we are talking about the Valancourt Book of Christmas Ghost Stories Volume 1. There are 4 books. I have all 4 of them, but I've only read this one, so that is what I'm going to review for you guys today. Let's take a look at the cover. It is stunning. All 4 volumes have the prettiest covers. I love them. I am not gonna lie to you, I bought these primarily for the covers, which I know is terrible and not good to impulse buy, but look at how pretty they are. I needed them in my collection. Even if I just wanted them to have as display pieces, they're just so pretty. Are you telling me this Christmas tree with skulls in it is not the freaking cutest thing ever? It's so simplistic, but yet so beautiful and like creepy, and it's so pretty, and it's matte. We know I love the soft matte touch covers. All in all, I just really like this cover. This is a beautiful book. It's very pretty. I love it just for the aesthetics, which I know is really kind of dumb to do, but it's just so pretty, guys. It's so pretty. I love it. I know. Ridiculous. So this is probably going to be a short synopsis once again. This is an anthology, and I'm not going to go through and tell you guys what each story is about. I'm just going to give you a little background information on the stories overall as a whole, and just kind of what the book is about, what it's like, and then I will tell you guys my overall thoughts. I hope you don't mind, but if I went through every and each story, it would just take me way too long, and I kind of want you guys to be surprised if you do pick up the book. I don't want to tell you what every story is about. I want that little bit of surprise for you guys. So let's get into my mini kind of sort of synopsis. This is an anthology of 13 ghost stories from the 19th century. Now, in the Victorian era, it was fairly common for newspapers and magazines to print these types of ghost stories during the Christmas season. This collection has authors that are pretty well known, and you might recognize some of the names as you're flipping through the stories, but they also have authors who are anonymous. My favorite stories were the Old Nurse's Story, Bring Me a Light, The Lady's Walk, and The Doll's Ghost. Those were the ones that I felt a certain type of way after reading them. I felt the most connected to, I liked the plot the most, and I didn't feel bored or, I don't know, annoyed at reading them. They were like the ones that really captured my attention the entire way through. A lot of these stories give you a peek into what life was like during the Victorian era because they're woven into the plots, so you just get some information, and it's very interesting to know what life was like then. So now let's get into my thoughts and overall opinions on this collection. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with Victorian era ghost stories. I don't know why, I just don't read a lot from the Victorian era. It's not really something I gravitate towards. I much more gravitate towards modern horror or modern ghost stories. But when I was younger, I did read a lot of classic ghost stories with my mom. We would read them to scare each other and just to have fun reading them out loud. And they do give the same vibe as those. So I don't know if maybe I was reading Victorian ghost stories in those books that I read with my mom. I'm not really sure because I really don't remember, and I was really young, but if I did, then that's pretty much the only experience I have with the Victorian era and ghost stories. I will say none of these stories are scary to me, and now what is scary is completely subjective to the person that is reading, so what is scary to me might not be scary to you, but these are just not what I find to be traditionally scary. I would just assume that's a time period difference. I'm sure in the Victorian era these were considered really creepy and really scary and really bone-chilling, but to me they aren't. And again, that's probably just because I'm a hardened modern horror person and I don't read a lot from that time period. However, I will say these stories are great at creating atmospheric creepiness. They just are a subtle little creep factor. They provide that eeriness while you're reading. Not necessarily you're getting scared or you're getting freaked out, but just a little creep. You just feel a little unsettled while you're reading them. It's nothing too outrageous. Like I said, it's very subtle. I think that's what these stories do very well, is subtle creepiness, they're just very good at subtlety in this kind of area, and I think that's why people like them so much. I think if you're not big on today's kind of horror and you don't like the gore and the blood and the, you know, grossness, you don't like that violent aspect to horror, you might really like these because they are just a very calm creep, a very calm eeriness. It's just really light. It's like a light dusting of creepy, if that makes any sense. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's more of a quiet creepiness. It's just very much of a hint of creep factor. It's not in your face. It's not all over the place. It's not just shoving things into your face. It's just very quiet, very subdued, very, ooh, there's the creep factor. You didn't really figure it out until the end. It's just kind of, it creeps there. It just simmers, you know? I hope that makes somewhat sense. I feel like if you read these kinds of stories, you know what I'm talking about. I think if you're a fan of Gothic literature, you might love these because they are very Gothic and very they just have that same feeling to them, and I think that you'll love these. They're just right up the same alley as Gothic literature. I don't know if I consider some of them ghost stories, if I'm honest. Some of them felt like it was gonna be a ghost story and then there would just be a little twist and it wasn't necessarily a ghost story, but I did find the majority of them very fun and entertaining, and it was just like, it was fun to read. They weren't bad necessarily. It's just not what I was expecting when I hear the word ghost story. So keep that in mind if you're expecting these to be true ghost stories. So, and I mean ghost stories as in ghost stories you read today. Like if you're expecting that, I don't think this is going to be for you. Like I just said, don't go into this book expecting modern day ghost stories or modern day plots. These are very different. The way the characters interact with each other, the way the characters talk to each other, the way the stories just kind of unfold, they're not like today's ghost stories. These are from the Victorian era, so they are going to be different. Just keep that in mind when you're going into this, to not expect what you know today as a ghost story. These are very different. Some of the stories I felt like did drag on a bit. It took a while to get to the point, and like I said, these are more about the atmosphere and the descriptions and really trying to submerge you into the story, which is great, but sometimes it took a little bit too long and I was just getting really bored and I was really tired, and I was like, okay, I just need you to kind of speed it along and get to the point. And I think that might just be because I don't read a lot of Victorian era stories and I'm used to modern day ghost stories. I'm used to a faster paced typical storyline, and these aren't those. I do want to say that I felt like a lot of these stories were very similar, as in they kind of had the same things happen. It was very typical. It was still pretty predictable to see where this was going. It wasn't, there was no plot twists really. Even the plot twists were pretty easy to see coming. I mean, some of the stories did surprise me, but majority of the time I could tell based off of A, the title, or B, just how it was leading up to the ending, how it was going to end. So you know, some of them just felt a little too similar in my opinion, but I do think they were still fun. I did find it interesting that they contained information about what it was like to live during the Victorian era. I don't know much about the Victorian era. It's not something that I've really looked into or really done a lot of research into or read a lot from the Victorian era. So I don't know a lot about the Victorian era. So it was interesting to see how people lived day-to-day life and what life was like and what things were going on then. It was just interesting. And I did like that that information was woven into the plots. It added a little level of, you know, historical information, I guess. I also liked that above each story there was a little blurb explaining what was going on at the time of the story being published and what kinds of things we were going to see in the story. I thought that was a little interesting, and I liked having a better knowledge going into the story, so it was a little bit easier to understand what some of the characters were talking about or why the characters did what they did, or, you know, just general information about what was going on. It was just easier to comprehend, I think, with that little blurb explaining a little bit of information for you. Overall, I had fun giving this collection a go. I'm excited to read the other three. Not all the stories in this collection were my cup of tea, but that's just kind of what you get when you go with an anthology. Some of the stories you might absolutely love, some you might not, and that's just kind of the price you pay when you read an anthology. But I am excited to read the other three. I'm still gonna read them all. I really enjoyed the first one and I did have fun. And I'm excited to see what the other stories are in the other three volumes. So if you guys want reviews on the other three volumes, even though Christmas is now going to be over soon, if you want to see reviews on those, I will definitely do that for you guys. You know, it's up to you guys if you want to see them. If not, I will save them for next Christmas. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the Valancourt Book of Victorian Ghost Stories Volume 1. That is the longest title ever. I keep trying not to mess it up. It's so confusing. But yeah, I am really excited. I had a lot of fun reading it, and the cover is absolutely beautiful. Like I said, I raved about it for like 2 minutes. I enjoyed it. I'm excited that I have the other three, and I will be reading the other three. Let me know if you've read any of the volumes of the Valancourt Book of Victorian Christmas Ghost Stories. God, that's a mouthful. Let me know if you've read any of the volumes. I'd like to know your opinions. Let me know if you love Victorian ghost stories or if you're more of a modern ghost story kind of person. I'd love to know. And yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this book review Thursday, not Friday. I hope you guys are having a very, very Merry Christmas, or a very, I was gonna say very Merry holidays, a very happy holidays. And yeah, I will see you guys on Monday with a new video. Bye!